Here's how that wild, snow-choked war with the HOA in Pinterest Valley really went down. And believe me, if you think HOA drama is just some tired meme, buckle up. I learned 3 things that first brutal winter in Colorado. 1, never trust a board president named Brenda. 2, read every last word on your property deed. 3, spite will move mountains or at least 10 feet of snow. My name's Kyle Davidson, and in October 2024, I finally landed the kind of place you dream about, 5 acres up in the mountains, right at the end of Aspen Ridge Road with a house, a barn, and the crown jewel, a commercial-grade Ford F-450 snowplow the old owner Tom just tossed into the deal. Guy was retiring to Florida, selling everything off dirt cheap because, well, nobody else wanted to deal with the infamous HOA. Should have been a clue, right? Pinterest Valley's HOA ran about 40 homes, and their network of private roads the county didn't touch in winter. Tom had always used the plow for his own monster driveway, sometimes helping clear roads when the HOA came asking. I figured, hey, community spirit, right? I work from home. Emma, my girlfriend, drops by on weekends, and most days it's just me. The trees and the silence. First snow hits mid-November, maybe 4 inches. I fire up that old Ford and clear my driveway in 20 minutes flat. It runs like a champ, and I'm feeling pretty smug. Until 2 days later, 7 a.m., I get the official HOA welcome. Brenda Whitmore herself, mid-40s, blonde hair, pulled so tight it must have ached, North Face jacket, boots that had never seen slush, shows up on my porch folder in hand, and that smile that never hits the eyes. She launches right in, "Welcome, Kyle. We need to discuss your responsibilities as a resident with commercial snow equipment." I blinked. Responsibilities. She hands over a folder with highlighted bylaws, sticky notes everywhere. Turns out Section 12, Paragraph 4 says, anyone with a snowplow may be called upon to clear roads for the community. In Brenda speak, that means you, my friend, are now the unpaid road crew for 5+ miles. I told her I'd look into it. She left, but not before reminding me roads better be plowed by 8 a.m. after any real snow. The folder had Tom's name crossed out, mine penciled in. I spent hours combing through those bylaws. Brenda wasn't totally wrong, but she wasn't right either. Maybe called upon isn't must, and nowhere did it say for free. I called Richard, the HOA treasurer, super chill guy. He admitted Tom used to do the plowing as a favor, got his dues knocked down and fuel reimbursed, but mandatory. Nah. They'd tried to hire contractors. Brenda always killed the budget. Good luck saying no to her. He laughed. First big storm dumped 14 inches. Brenda blew up my phone before sunrise. I cleared my driveway, ate breakfast, and ignored the drama. By noon, Brenda showed up again, this time flanked by Donald. The vice president looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. And Susan, the secretary, tight smile, not a word wasted. They said the roads were impassable and I was legally obligated. I stood my ground. Tom did it as a favor. I'm not Tom. They called me selfish, talked about emergencies, guilt-tripped about elderly neighbors. I said hire a contractor. I shut the door and watched them argue outside like I'd just declared war. After a week of relentless calls, emails, and threats, I got a bright red notice of violation and a threat $100 daily fines. That's when I lawyered up Patricia Mills in Boulder. She laughed when I explained. Classic HOA overreach, she said, and fired off a cease and desist. Suddenly, radio silence from Brenda at least. Then one snowy morning I found my driveway blocked. Someone had plowed a 4-foot wall of snow right at the entrance. My plow truck was trapped in the barn. I called the sheriff. A deputy showed up, confirmed it was deliberate, but with no proof, nothing happened. I bought security cameras, 8 of them, set them up that same day. Emma showed up, saw my little surveillance fortress, shook her head. Are you at war with the HOA? They started it, I said. Next storm cameras caught everything. 6 a.m., Donald's black pickup rolled in, blade down, piled 5 feet of snow across my driveway. I called Deputy Martinez. This time, video in hand, he cited Donald for criminal mischief. Brenda was livid. She called, yelled about community spirit tearing us apart, said I'd had Donald arrested. I told her straight, ask nicely, pay fairly, and I'll help. Threaten demand, and you get lawyers and cops. The board held a secret meeting, voted to fine me $5,000 for non-compliance. I actually laughed out loud. I sent it all to my lawyer. She hit them with a lawsuit, injunction, damages, legal fees. Now the whole community started paying attention. A neighbor, Jennifer, started a petition to recall Brenda. 23 signatures in a week. Brenda panicked, mass emailed, everyone claimed I was costing the HOA. Jennifer countered with fax video and the real story. Recall vote set for February. Then came the legendary blizzard, 18 inches, 3-foot drifts, county travel warnings. I plowed my own place, then Helen's, my 83-year-old neighbor. As I finished, Brenda rolled up in her Lexus, got out, and went full meltdown. "You will plow our roads." I told her no. She threatened me again. I pointed to the camera I'd put on Helen's garage. She backed down, spun her tires, and left. The recall happened. Brenda lost. Donald quit. Susan got demoted. Jennifer became president. First order of business. Real snow removal contract. Apology to me. All fines dropped. Lawsuit settled. HOA covered my fees. But Brenda wasn't done. 5 days later, my truck was vandalized, tires slashed, hydraulic lines cut, selfish prick, and spray paint. Cameras caught everything, Brenda, Donald, and Susan all in ski masks, but too dumb to cover the car plates. Brenda even took her mask off too early. Deputy Martinez arrested all 3 vandalism conspiracy. Brenda pled to probation, paid for repairs, and moved out by summer. The community started healing. Jennifer streamlined the bylaws, got budgets in order, and made Pinterest Valley livable again. That's when it hit me. I actually liked plowing snow. There was something peaceful about it, watching the world go, still making a path. So I offered Jennifer a real deal contract, proper pay, all above board. We settled on $4,000 for the season, less than the commercial crew, but fair for the work. It went smooth as could be. I did my job, got paid, and for the first time, the HOA ran like it should. But because there's always a but, there was Patricia Stone, Brenda's old friend. She started stirring the pot, saying I was overpaid, not as good as Tom, wasting HOA funds. Classic. Then the storm. January 18th, a monster 31 inches howling wind roads vanished. I spent the whole day plowing, working my way from the far end back to the entrance. Jennifer called. Patricia was losing her mind, saying I'd plowed her in, demanding I do her driveway first. I hadn't even gotten there yet. I thought about everything. Brenda pulled all the threats, the vandalism, the lawsuits. I decided enough was enough. When I finally made it to Patricia's, I could have plowed her out. Contract said so. But instead, I piled every bit of extra snow right in front of the HOA's decorative gate, a 10-foot wall solid as a glacier. The only way out was the route I'd just cleared, 2 miles longer, but hey, roads were clear. Jennifer called, trying not to laugh. Patricia screamed on the phone, said it was sabotage. The sheriff came out, took one look, said, "Well, you did your job." The photo of that snow pile made it to the local news. Reddit loved it. Patricia's crew tried to fire me, but the contract was ironclad. The snow melted. The gate reopened. No one complained again ever. Jennifer called to say I was the folk hero who stood up to HOA tyranny. I just moved some snow. But the truth is, sometimes a well-placed pile of snow says more than 1,000 angry words. Life settled. Helen passed away that spring. Emma and I got married in the backyard mountains, glowing gold at sunset. The community finally felt like a community. Someone painted the infamous snow pile and gave it to me, titled it Malicious Compliance. It hangs above my desk. Patricia, still around, stays quiet. Donald and I nod when we pass each other. I realized in the end this was never really about snow. It was about standing up for yourself, about knowing your worth, reading the fine print, and refusing to be bullied. Could I have just plowed from the start? Sure. But if I had, Brenda's scheme would have kept rolling and every new neighbor would get the same raw deal. Sometimes you've got to make a statement, even if that means a 10-foot wall of spite and snow. 3 years on Pinterest Valley's HOA runs smoother than ever. Jennifer's made it transparent, fair, functional. My contract gets renewed every year, and I never forget that painting, a reminder that sometimes the smartest move isn't fighting harder, but following the rules so perfectly nobody can touch you. Brenda demanded free labor. I gave her a lesson in contract law. Patricia demanded special treatment. She got a legendary pile of snow. What I got was better a community respect and the deep satisfaction of knowing I didn't back down. If you ask me if it was worth it, absolutely. 'Cause some things are. Your dignity, your rights, that little voice that says, hey, not today. If you've ever tangled with an HOA or been bullied by folks waving rules around like weapons, maybe you know what I mean. So tell me, where do you stand? Should I have just gone along to get along, or was holding my ground the only way? What would you have done with a 10-foot snowplow in a mountain of trouble? Drop your thoughts, your war stories, your own HOA nightmares in the comments. I want to hear them. Because in the end, that's how real communities are built. Not on fear, not on free labor, but on fairness and people willing to say enough.